really interesting question from the Locked On Sooners Insider program that you can subscribe to, 405-817-6711. You'll get 2 weeks free. Text Sooners to 405-817-6711 to get 2 weeks free in the Locked On Sooners Insider program. You can send us topics for the show ideas, show questions, and we will answer them here. We had a great one from our buddy Lamont Rogers we'll discuss coming up next, as well as some important news and notes that came through Sooner Nation on Monday. We'll discuss coming up next.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So, Lamont Rogers, one of our subscribers in the Locked On Sooners Insider program, again, 405-817-6711, asked the question, is it time to move Jacobe Johnson over to Emmett Jones's room? Standout 4-star athlete that made a lot of plays for Mustang on the wide receiver for Mustang.
Look, we knew that last year, the conversation and jokes that went around, especially from like Jay Valai, how they were fighting with Emmett Jones for Jacobe Johnson in the room, and they won out to get him at corner because the wide receiver room was stacked. And John, you make a good point. Lamont, great question, because at this point we're dealing with nothing but injuries in the wide receiver room, right? The safety net that Jackson Arnold was going into the season with has now gone down by 4 players, right? You don't got Nick yet. You don't have Andrell Anthony, which they both should be coming back very soon. Jalil Farouk goes out with the injury, and Jaden Gibson goes out with the injury. So you lose 4 critical players with all the experience, and now we're starting over from scratch all the way. It's not just first-time offensive line and a first-time quarterback and a first-time OC and first-time tight ends. You're talking about first-time wide receivers too. So much change there. I would not mind seeing a Jacobe Johnson over there if we need additional bodies. I know that we're nicked up and dinged up. I wonder. The question is, did we hit too hard in fall camp and spring camp? Were we beating each other up? Because I know that the goal is to be the most physical team out there when we play. But there's always collateral damage when you're too physical out there on the football field. But John, I like the idea. What about you?
Yeah, man, I like it. If Oklahoma needs some more size on the outside, which I think they do, I don't think you can get through a whole season with guys that are 5'10" and under at wide receiver and expect to be effective, especially when you want to run wide zone concepts in your running game.
Yeah.
Man, Jacobe Johnson's got a ton of athleticism. He's a go up and get the ball kind of a guy. So I am intrigued by the idea. Let him moonlight a little bit in the wide receiver room. Let him get some reps in practice, see what you got there, and see if he can contribute, because you do need, listen, he's not an experienced wide receiver piece at the collegiate level, but he's an experienced collegiate player. He's been in the program now more than a year. So He does have more experience than a Zion Raggins and a Zion Kearney and an Ivan Carrion, which are all guys that should be really good players down the road, but may not be quite ready yet. But you've got a Jacobe Johnson who, he hasn't fully taken on a role at cornerback yet. So if you do want to moonlight him on both sides of the ball, now's kind of a good time, because you're not relying on him for 60 snaps a game at corner. Create a few packages and concepts that get him on the field for 10 snaps a game at wide receiver, and see what he's got for you, man. I think there's some potential there. Another big news story. Oklahoma will play its 3rd primetime game in 4 weeks when they host the Tennessee Volunteers on Saturday, September 21. I was shocked when we got another primetime one, but again, Papa Sankey coming through big time with the Oklahoma Sooners in their inaugural SEC game.
Papa Sankey is so hilarious. But hey, no, that's true, man. We're getting the hookup on this. And honestly, if we do enough in all of our games, I anticipate majority of our home SEC games to be at night. It's the perfect scenario, right? You're bringing Bama to town. You've got, Tennessee. South Carolina is probably going to be the afternoon game, which I'm fine with. I mean, heck, I'll take South Carolina for an 11 or 12 o'clock kick. I wouldn't even complain about that. That'd be the one time you wouldn't hear me complain. That's one game I don't mind. Yeah. It's fine for it to be early, but
I want Dylan Stewart as sluggish as possible.
Right. I don't need him to be energized or excited. I need him to be taking the day off because he has a sinus infection, right? Something that's not going to be too serious. I just don't. He's good. right? But no, I do. I think it's going to be fun with some of these games, right? Like Maine's going to most likely be like an 11 o'clock kick, which is fine. But, with Tennessee and then Auburn's going to probably be a late afternoon window. You're most likely going to Texas is already the 2:30 window. You're going to have 2:30 Central Time for those that aren't in our time zone. But I mean, as you're going down the list of the teams that we're playing, Missouri's going to probably be an evening game. There's a good chance for that since it's the return of a Big 12 teams playing against each other. I am all for the fact that we're getting all the love from Papa Sankey and the SEC right now.
Yeah, I think it sets up well for Oklahoma to have a couple more at least night games. I think Alabama is a prime candidate for it, and maybe LSU at the end of the season, just because LSU at night is one of the cool venues in college football.
Agreed.
Final thing we're going to touch on, I'm sure most of you saw it, is the passing of James Earl Jones. I know this is not Oklahoma Sooners related, but man, the dude was such a cultural phenomenon in the world of movies and in a way sports, with his role in Sandlot and his role in Field of Dreams. For people who of my age, you grew up with him as Darth Vader, and in Field of Dreams, one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. And then obviously his role in The Sandlot, and the line that just always stands out is baseball was life and I was good at it. That one just always warms your heart, right? Because he's just remembering the good times. But then obviously, Mufasa was such an iconic voice actor in his time as well, and did a ton of stuff with the Tom Clancy series with Harrison Ford. Just an iconic figure in the entertainment world. James Earl Jones passed away at 93.
Yeah, man. We're all Simba right now, right? We're pushing Mufasa, and we're telling him to get up so we can go. We got to go home. Crawling underneath his arm, laying down. Yeah, we're all Simba right now, man. It was pretty sad when I saw it. I was just like, that dude. He was the dude, man. Just everything about James Earl Jones, one of the most iconic voices out there, coming to America as the father. My son works. Has me in tears every time.
Yeah.
I see and hear him. I'm going to go watch that now, right? One of my favorite movies of all time. So I got to go watch that. I'm going to go watch The Lion King just to hear Mufasa talk to me about, just everything the son touches. It just saddens me to hear that voice. I won't be able to hear it in anything new going forward. Rest in peace, James Earl Jones.
Yeah, creates the transcendent Darth Vader. The Star Wars series is probably not the same without him. So that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports, myself at John 9 Williams. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all the socials. Again, thanks for tuning in, and shout out to all the everydayers as well for making Locked On Sooners their first listen every single day. Also, go check out the Locked On College Football podcast with our guy, Spencer McLaughlin. From NIL deals to never-ending conference realignment rumors, Spencer gets you ready for an exciting season on the gridiron. You can find the link to Locked On College Football in the description, so you don't need to search. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll catch you then. Boomer.
Sooner.